Hey guys, how's it going? 4:15. Give me one second. I don't have my glasses on here. PARACONOMY Inc. First thing I just wanted to get on here. It's like, hey, how's everybody doing? I'm in the back here somewhere. So, get my glasses. Facebook's trying to get me over here. Facebook's trying to get me to talk to you guys about some more I'm assuming money. So like again, people don't like how they're being painted today, and I'm basically breaching and reaching over saying, "Hey, you guys can give me like $5 million here. You guys can knock these goals out of the park, and you guys could just place it in my account for the next 10 years, and I would take all of this weird reputation stuff. You basically buy out half the company. I'm gonna need the other half to live. Like you guys, I'm basically ranking and rigmaroling with the KKK now and the militia. That $5 million in this state would it'd get you exactly to where you need to be in about a decade. So like if you were supposed to do something in the next, say I'm supposed to spend $5 million in 15 years, okay, just to like hedge it out, dude, because this would last me for the rest of my life, and it would end up going back to the community that it came from anyways at some point. So them looking at this like a poor investment opportunity puts these nerds out on this part of extension that nerds aren't able to do as well. They are now, but the classic nerds don't have this trait. And this is kind of why they would need me to be in an expertise towards whatever they don't know is cool. Because like, look, I spent 20 years in art school. I better know something cool because otherwise my parents paid for nothing, and they don't care that they paid for all of this, and then this is the result. They don't care. They have money from it, and they have other people instead of me. They have pride other places. So why would they need to be proud of their only son? At any rate, $5 million for 20 years of hard work doesn't seem that crazy. And in fact, when I've been human trafficked and now there's people dying around me, there's spirituality involved. A couple million isn't too much to ask here, because if I got human trafficked and I died on top of that because they put a bunch of weird like lollygagging curses because they're petty, and now it's like boys and girls are against me, um just to say I told you so, then it's right there. And everybody deliberately went as far from me as they could. And now because they've done that, they feel an acquaintance because people have done violent things against me and sexual things against me. So asking for money out of this while my life is being lived by other people, and then in their eyes overachieving at my life and my opportunity. But that's like half how stories build like their tension and stuff classically in Hollywood. So that's like why some of this stuff looks a little more staged than it needs to be. And how you can kind of cut through the noise is by plagiarizing into some of the expectation that's being extended by what people are willing to actually dole out. Because people know that the game stoppers all got millions of dollars. Freaking Bitcoin paid out on that end of the thing. And there's a huge influx on finances now for a lot of PC builders, militants, and other accountants and whatnot. So lawyers, freaking judges, all know the truth about day traders. And the day traders have the access to the KKK, the military, the judge, anybody that you could want. So these day traders often always end up becoming landlords too on the side, and they have like stock in property because in their heads that's where the biggest bang for in opportunity, but it doesn't just end there. That's just one bag for people to pick up on, because you go towards the church, and the people at the church make the most money because they're supposed to. And so that's why these people also launder the hell out of all this money, and they have a hard time talking. And now my mom knows a lot of these people. She's been growing up with these people in Michigan. She's an office worker. She works for the state. So does Sharon Kelly. They both know people who cover up their mistakes with money. And so this is why it's being pulled out as an example on the KKK. A lot of them are poor white people, but now they're being flipped and told, hey, because you guys fight for our country so hard and you're the ones who actually build it, here you go. You guys have this part. And if anything ever comes, like you come asking Uncle Sam for the next best thing, and we're supposed to be able to handle that. The welfare in this country also is a bit questionable because now you have to look at all the white people that are getting welfare and they're just sitting there and not like trying to get off of welfare. So this is a big staple in white privilege. So these office workers often use selective breeding, like selective autism or selective racism and stuff like that, selective traits. Okay. And so these people put the pedal to the metal on power. Okay. All they want is for these people they want control over these people. So they'll point you in the direction of somebody who's going to be triggered by you and then have them deal with you. And that's the big dream in America is to have somebody else, a little bit of luxury, have somebody else, have a slave. And so here at Paraconomy Inc., we understand that there's a big history with slavery. My people invented sugarcane slavery, and we're my Thailand and Filipino, all this other stuff. Huge reason why the colonialists I ended up with like a lot of Spanish stuff going on my dad's side. So like it's kind of one big reason why they're giving you the runaround while they have access to millions of dollars is because they in their head a master's degree should have millions of dollars. But it doesn't mean they did the work for it. And this is the next part about white people and nepotism is they'll utilize this religious shunning at an angle, but if they're not practicing these virtues that they're if my mom's a Protestant and she's practicing Catholic virtues or Judaism, then it's not as kosher as she's pretending it could be, right? So that's kind of why they're looking a little guilty by standing next to Christmas time so precariously with there's nothing left for you. Oh, how convenient. I have dreadlocks and I'm brown and there's nothing left for me. Huh, that makes sense. You guys are in cahoots with the deepest armpits in Michigan, and I know what type of hillbillies I've been exposed to in Lapeer. So a good hunk of my friends ended up becoming Republicans when I came back home, and like it was on the fence if the Zoomer generation would vote in on leftist, and they did not. So that's a lot of my friends back at home. Right before things changed, I got in and did and partied and had some fun and did some hallucinogens with them one summer. And like it was great. It got me, it was a soft, comfortable landing, but it had some too many loose ends. And so I tried to talk to my parents about starting my company. And they don't believe in magic and they don't agree with legalizing weed. Okay, they don't agree with dreams or aliens or hallucinogens. They don't agree with the human condition. So very often they'll go out of their way to find this part in the doctor medical machine, and that's kind of where it's over. They're overwashing the money and privilege from the church and the money and privilege from the medical field because lo and behold, my mom has another surgery this year. Huh, go figure. Well, hopefully not this year, but they're lining one up. And so, like, that's kind of one big reason why, I wonder where all of my inheritance is being planned on trajectory. Well, I'm going to live till 85. Well, you're not going to do that all by yourself, Lou. Okay, you're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on your life. Yeah, but you're not getting any of mine. Yeah, but you owe me hundreds of thousands of dollars back from when people died and they gave it to me and you took it. So that's kind of where if my sister has hundreds of thousands of dollars, she is sure as hell didn't earn all that. And they're just like saving up to get a nice house in LA. Then of course they don't know what the hell they're doing and they got involved with people who do. And that's kind of where I know what Michigan's capable of. My sister, my family, my mom, they're all like down here, they don't know professionalism like I do on the standard on the entertainment industry until like 5 years ago when they started cutting a rug and really buttering up the freaking who's it's on Hollywood. And so my sister has been the freaking angel out there without any like street cred. That's where I come in. But the family is like, ugh, undesirable, a vagrant scrub, a lesser than, and they react. So this was the reaction. Hire the KKK to watch our son. They won't attack him then. They'll watch him. So but that's where they made a mistake and they realized maybe we shouldn't have the KKK, the Proud Boys, handling the only Hawaiian man of our family. And so that's kind of where they don't know where to step in. They know I need money. Everybody knows I'm owed penance. I got trafficked. I got whole excursion, and I got all this. I got other things going on because people had to have the privilege of living my best opportunities in front of me. So Sam, freaking Thomas Chapson over here, and the rest of her family, she's all caught up into this interest here on the leg of the rigmarole towards any of the clansmanship that has happened out towards this part of Michigan, and she knows these parts, and I know plenty of people who are also connected. It is Michigan. Okay, they somehow wanted to make turn Michigan from a bunch of Yanks into the deep South, and it's never changed. And the French people here, they love it, and they go to Quebec all the time. So like there's a good chance that people do have access to millions of dollars, and it wouldn't be anything to give it away because they're gonna make millions of dollars back. The thing about millionaires, they don't stop making millions of dollars. Um, not usually. It's rare they stop. So they like that's kind of I don't have millions of dollars, and I need millions of dollars if I'm supposed to live till I'm 80. Then like what am I supposed to do? Go scrub somebody's windows till it's clean? Said, yeah, that's how America was built. Dog, that ain't even how you got built. So like why would I do something lower than what my mom is trying to tell me? It's good enough for Rusty. You can go fight for Rusty. And she's like caught in this romanticized version of life. And when she was like young and she wants to be young with me, but she fucked it up because she started doing mushrooms or acid with my uncle Adam and Cadence. So like they're a ball apart of the KKK too. Again, and they took the helm. My cousin Cade, he thinks he's a little rusty still. And like that's kind of why he's got swastikas. I've seen his swastikas, but he's into like Motorhead. It's like supposed to be the good Nazis. So like that's the difference, right? Is there a good Nazi? In my opinion, no, dude. So like that's kind of where you don't have this part. Is like, look, Nazism is now there's heritage. That's different. But Nazism and to placate and become prolific in it shows that it's alive and well in Michigan today, even from when I was growing up. A lot of these kids I grew up with knew they wanted to become Nazis and alt-right wingers and all these other things, and they are. So you want to look at the line of consistency. What do people do? That will show you who they are. And if you're just going to ignore or make up a bunch of, and this is the next thing, they don't know when to stop. And they've made it all about themselves by making it more confusing with the lies that they're using to talk to people about any of it, which is why nobody believes me by the time we're done playing this weird, crooked game of telephone. It sends a sight line way down the lake, and it's like kind of it's this weird it again, there's selective autism all over my family. And that's why they don't know they're autistic. They're so old school. They don't believe it's possible for a royal legacy to facilitate. They don't know the science of of genetics, but they want to assume royal in a place where they know it's poor. And like that could be the cap is my mom was told and it was drilled into her, beaten into her that they're from the poor whites and they need to get a leg up on society at any cost. I don't care if it's your son, I don't care if it's your mom, get a leg up. And that's my mother. Okay, that's my mother when it comes to things, and she doesn't like to talk about being that. Here we are on civilian disclosure. If the Nazis have Nordic magic from outer space, then I want to know what the hell they got their hands on and why they're willing to shed out a tear or two over the fact that like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I got somewhat fixed and on my independence, but then all of a sudden I'm not. It's because these gay kids that I met and tried to they're white, privileged. So of course just down the lake they've got cousins who are straight up militia members, and they're not very smart about how they hid it. And so all this weird teenage gossip from when I was a teenager got rolled out, even though I dealt with that 10 years ago when I was told to become an adult in Chicago. So this is like if you're looking for a line of maturity, this is where mine was, and I proved it. But that's where people don't care. Okay? If they're not there to see it, you don't you as far as they don't even know it exists. Okay. Next thing about living in living two lives, I've got a complicated thing. Living two lives that you're told to be add up to something or you're nothing, and then you do, but nobody sees it, so they just believe the lie. That's all on them, and they all got hurt. They're getting hurt by it because all it was. I went out to Chicago to go find my Brown family. And when I found my Brown family, it was connected to some really awful history. And once I started sharing that history with my mother, she shut down. And so my sister tried to pick up the torch to teach my mom why black people are safe. And so my mom trusts my sister with racism because she's out in the city where it's consistent. You see how the problem feels, but she's not doing half of the shit that my mom sent me out because of the co-parenting my mom and dad think is so privileged and pristine that sits upon my Ellis royalties. And why I'm not allowed access to it is because they don't know when to shoe one. And so because they've never spent that type of money before, because 'cause they're poor whites, they think it's a lot. But they're just they're simple religious fear mongers, okay? This is another thing about Michigan. Look, they are naive, okay? I 10 years ago, I was ahead, and it's been 10 years, I'm still ahead. We're like almost flush now. They finally like caught up, and things are starting to be like, well, hey, you can't tell us what to do. We've been waiting this whole time to be at your level, of course, because we actually have more magic that we've been talking. Yeah, but I did something before you did. Yeah, yeah, that doesn't matter. We have money. Yes, but now I know you're all involved with something evil. So if that's what we're it's 4:34 p.m., 5:13:20, if that's how we're gonna rest things, dude, then yes, evil is magic. We can all stop. We can put these fears to rest about one another in some sense because look, it's 2025. You can't get along with the fact that people grew up and did interesting things with their lives. To each their own, dude. You have a long way to go when it comes to actually like feeling it out. And if you're in the dreamland and you cross over any of my intellectual property and it functions and it triggers me over here somehow in some weird way, and that it gets, I record that stuff. So this could be a huge part, 434, of why I'm dealing with this so slant ways and why it can't just, I can't access my life. It's got like a conservatorship. My mom sold me off to the Nazis to watch me when she dies. Okay, that's about it, honestly. And it's innocent until it's completely malicious. And that's kind of where she knows what she did, and she knows why she did it. It's because she wanted attention from me, and she wanted to be like, hug me now. Don't you see what I can do? Isn't it? Aren't you proud of my art? It's a scam artist, mom. You're a scammer. You have dad on the dark web, and then you have the freaking CIA and the fucking NSA on down my breathing down my neck. Well, that's because I just want you to know better, son. You just up and become white.